Welcome to the Awesomers.com podcast. If you love to learn, and if you're motivated to expand your mind, and heck, if you desire to break through those traditional paradigms and find your own version of success, you are in the right place. Awesomers around the world are on a journey to improve their lives and the lives of those around them. We believe in paying it forward, and we fundamentally try to live up to the great Zig Ziglar quote, where he said, "You can have everything in your life you want if you help enough other people get what they want." It doesn't matter where you came from, it only matters where you're going. My name is Steve Simonson, and I hope you will join me on this awesomer journey.
If you're launching a new product manufactured in China, you will need professional, high-resolution, Amazon-ready photographs. Because Simo Global has a team of professionals in China, you will oftentimes receive your listings photographs before your product even leaves the country. This streamlined process will save you the time, money, and energy needed to concentrate on marketing and other creative content strategies before your item is in stock and ready for sale. Visit simoglobal.com to learn more, because a picture should be worth 1,000 keywords.
Today is going to be an Awesomers Insights episode where we talk about something that's very important to me, and you're going to get a very special opportunity to do something I think that is not a common thing, and I'm going to talk to you more about that here in a minute. Now, this is Awesomers episode number 39, and it's surprising to me that we've already cranked out nearly 40 episodes, and this episode 39 is going to talk about something very special. But before we dive into that, I want to just share a couple things with you. First of all, if you haven't been to Awesomers.com and you want to know about any show notes and details about this episode, you just go to Awesomers.com/39. Now, if you just go into the regular Awesomers.com website, by the way, you can join our mailing list and you'll get drip-fed some free stuff. We don't oppressively email you or spam you trying to get you to buy a bunch of stuff. As a matter of fact, we don't directly sell anything. Often we'll refer resources to you, whether they're bookkeepers or a software program or things that we use and like. But we're just not hard sales guys running out and beating you down to buy stuff. We share what works for us, and that's part of the magic of working with the Awesomers community. And so this particular episode, we're taking a little bit of a diversion from our normal interviews with either book reviews or the Back Talk Live episodes, and even the interviews with entrepreneurs, because we've got a very special opportunity. Now, the Empowery nonprofit cooperative, so it's called the Empowery E-commerce Cooperative. If you haven't heard of it, I want to just give you kind of the brief overview and then tell you something very unique that's happening right now. So the Empowery E-commerce Cooperative is all about members joining together, and the members actually own the co-op. Each member has one vote, they have one share, and they own the co-op. So every member, side to side, owns one share, and they all have one equal vote. There is no corporate owner, there is no kind of mothership. It's a member-owned nonprofit cooperative. And a cooperative is an actual business model type. A lot of people don't realize this, but there's corporations and there's C Corps and S Corps and LLCs. Well, a co-op is a whole nother kind of structure. And this particular co-op was set up in Minnesota because Minnesota has some of the best laws about how to set up and form and operate, ultimately, a cooperative. If you've ever wanted to talk directly to Amazon, this is a very special episode for you. Today, after I give you a little context, we're going to talk about a very unique opportunity to get your message and to share your story with Amazon executives who are really interested in doing the right thing. And I'm going to dive into those details after, again, we set a little bit of context here. So first of all, why does Empowery exist? Empowery believes that if entrepreneurs work together, they can leverage buying power. They can leverage the strength of lots of members to try to gain better scale of purchasing, for example. If we all buy freight together, if we all buy certain software things or certain services together, we should be able to get a little better deal. And Empowery was set up along the lines of something that I believe in, and I call it, you have to have three general propositions for a co-op to work. One is you got to have a beat the street price, so a little better deal than the average guy, and most everything at Empowery offers that. There's some things that are too rigid on pricing that can't change in the marketplace, but most of the time you're going to have a beat the street price. The second thing is you get this thing that I like to call the perk pack. This is when the kind of the velvet rope at the club is opened up and you kind of go to the front of the line, or you get extra perks and benefits that, just any Joe off the street is not going to get. And then, of course, the third thing is the cash back incentives. And the cash back is designed so that the more you use Empowery aligned vendors and service providers and so on and so forth, the more cash back you earn. And I've been in cooperatives for a long time, and this is one of the reasons why I'm helping found and fund this cooperative, is that over time the members actually get paid every year to be members when it works best. So they, by aligning your purchases and by aligning your services to work through the cooperative, you can actually get a big fat check at the end of every year, a cash back check. It's so amazing. And it's a really great feeling to have not just this big, the size of the check obviously varies based on how much you put through the cooperative, but you get this nice cash back, which most often will completely supersede the amount that you have to pay in monthly maintenance. And we'll talk a little bit about that after this. But the reality is that is just part of it. The other thing is you get a full-time team that's kind of working for the benefit of the cooperative. There's 4 or 5 full-time people, maybe more now, and they're working every day to try to make members' lives better. That's something that is phenomenal. And to be able to get access to that world-class team and be able to work together and build a community that you participate in and you own, that's, again, quite unique. Now, a lot of people say, all right, that sounds fine. I don't quite understand how it works, but I'm concerned about the cost. And the cost is very nominal. Essentially, you pay $1,000 for onboarding. That helps the team get a little action to help each person on board. And you pay $1,000 for your share of stock. That gives you your voting share. By the way, if you ever leave the co-op, you get that $1,000 back. And then you pay $250 a month in kind of ongoing maintenance fees or membership fees. Now, the best part, again, your cash back should fully nullify that $250. You can do more in cash back, accrue more in cash back, to where that $250 a month is a non impact to you financially. And by the way, once you hit like $12,000 a year of cash back or rebates, then you don't even have to pay the $250 a month. So that fee completely goes away once you hit that level. So it's a really easy way to see that, gosh, besides a little bit of, a little something up front to show I'm serious, there's not much in there if you truly use the system. Now, I want to say unequivocally, Empowery members, please use the system. Make sure that you're going out of your way, that you're contacting the Empowery team to use the vendors and the providers within the system. You already need these services. You already need the things that are being offered. Not necessarily every single one, but you already need a lot of them, and certainly enough to earn more than the $250 a month, which means you're going to be in a cash flow positive position at the end of the year. So again, you're kind of like being paid to be a member when it all works really well. So it's a very exciting thing, and I'm not going to dive too much more about the co-op. If you want to know more, go to Empowery.com, contact them directly. But the opportunity that Empowery's put in front of us is a very special project to communicate with Amazon, and you go to Empowery.com/DearJohn. And I want to just share what a special thing this is. And we're going to do a little bit more of this discussion right after this break.
Catalyst 88 was developed to help entrepreneurs achieve their short and long-term goals in e-commerce markets by utilizing the power of shared entrepreneurial wisdom. Entrepreneurship is nothing if not lessons to be learned. Learn from others. Learn from us. I guarantee that we will learn from you. Visit Catalyst88.com because your success is our success. Hey, giddy up.
Okay, gang, we're back again, and we're talking about this special project that I feel really, really motivated and optimistic about. And we call it the Dear John Project. And essentially, this is targeted towards Amazon Marketplace sellers that want to communicate with Amazon and kind of share some of your experiences. So let's first of all set the groundwork that Amazon and being able to sell in the marketplace, leverage the FBA program. Sometimes you're able to get Amazon lending, and there's so many things that Amazon does really, really well. And it's created this really unique opportunity for businesses all around the world to create extraordinary life-changing businesses of all sizes. Anything from, I sell a couple $100 a month to I sell a couple $1,000,000 a month or more, right? So it's a fascinating, beautiful thing. But just like anything that's fast-growing and dynamic, it's got some wrinkles in the system that need ironed out. And I'm fortunate because I live in Seattle, and I'm genuinely, I love entrepreneurs, and I want to see the very best come out for entrepreneurs in every possibility, including this marketplace. So I often talk to Amazon, and there's really caring people at Amazon. They want to make the experience of sellers much more positive and much more, delightful, if you will. But we have to recognize a couple things first. And that is, it's extraordinarily complex because they can't just be nice guys and assume we're all nice guys, because there's just a boatload, tons and tons of criminals every day hacking seller accounts, using fake credit cards, hacking, consumer accounts and having stuff shipped to them, doing return, fraud. And so they're constantly being attacked from all sides by all these criminal elements. And so they have a very complex problem. And I want everybody to just, take a step back and remember to have some empathy when you're dealing with Amazon. Even when you feel oppressed, or even when things are getting you down, they got a tough job to do over there too. So, I like to be a fair guy when I look at this stuff. There's certainly things at Amazon that I would advocate for, and I'm loud about the need to fix these sorts of things. But I do have a high level, I would say, of understanding and empathy about the complexity of these things, especially in such a dynamic, fast-moving environment. And so some of the things that upset us are when Amazon has to make fast changes, and we feel like they're reacting unfairly, perhaps, to media or other stimuli in the marketplace. And so those types of surprises can be unwelcome. And so the premise of the Dear John project is to give you, as an Amazon marketplace seller, the opportunity to reach out and just send Amazon a quirky and a fun memo that says, hey, you know what? I'm going to dump you, Amazon, because there's certain things I just simply can't take anymore. And so the premise here is by delivering a State of the Union speech to Amazon, but in a fun and quirky way, it's much more likely to get traction and get executives to understand there's humans on the other side of this. If we all just send, hate mail to Amazon and go, hey, you suck, do better, that's not going to positively affect change, in my humble opinion. So, here's the premise. Have you ever wanted to dump Amazon? Have you ever, gotten up in the morning and faced some unwelcome surprise? Maybe your account's suspended. Maybe all your reviews were deleted. If this kind of stuff bothers you, or you've had a competitor deploy black hat tactics, there's probably a chance that you wanted to just wake up and tell Amazon, you know what, you fired, right? To quote an old apprenticeism, if you will. Now, I want to be clear that this Dear John letter doesn't mean you actually are breaking up with Amazon, but it's a look into the future of what could happen if Amazon doesn't change its ways, right? There are some things that are happening that are just simply not acceptable. I'll give you a quick example. And again, I want to reiterate, I love entrepreneurs, but I also am absolutely enamored by Amazon. I respect, so much of what they've been able to do. So this is not about me trying to, be bad or mean to Amazon, or it's not about hate. It's about love, right? We've got to do more together, and we do that by communicating. So the situation I was going to share is there are more and more times where Amazon is getting a return from a customer, and they're putting that back into sellable inventory, even when we've said, don't put my returns into sellable inventory. And then they ship it out, and then a customer says, they ship me used inventory, and then we get dinged for it, right? We'll get a negative review. We might even get a product suspension. We might even have to send in a plan of action, a POA as they're called. We have to confess, oh, I'm sorry, we checked and it turns out a package got through, or something used got through. We're confessing to stuff we didn't even do, because that's how the system is kind of set up, and in many ways quite broken. Now, I want to reiterate, I'm being fair on both sides. There's, Amazon's got a lot to deal with, But if we can give examples of how this stuff works, or in this case, doesn't work, and humanize it a bit, I think it can have a big impact. So I'm going to read you very briefly, or as quick as it can be done, the quirky, fun Dear John letter that I wrote to Amazon. And this is about being fun and quirky. It doesn't diminish the severity of the situations, but it makes it more palatable to read and understand, in my humble opinion. Okay, I'm going to read you this letter that I've written to Amazon. And it's just an example. It certainly doesn't have to follow this, but I'll also talk you through the template that we're providing for you, or that Empowery has online as well for you. So again, you can go to empowery.com/DearJohn, and you can see the example letter, the template, and the whole premise explained to you online. So here's the letter. Dear Amazon, it's over. I can't take it anymore. I'm leaving you, and it's been a long time coming. You've ignored me for the last time. I used to love how you helped me grow. I appreciated the chance to store all of my junk in your warehouses. That was so sweet. I knew you cared about me because you really helped me grow my business, and I loved that about you. It felt more like a partnership, and that's what I need. I could scale my interests while using your already established infrastructure. That felt like this would turn into a LTR, right? Long-term romance. My heart used to leap when I would grab my phone, open my Seller Central app, and see my sales. I remember the first day I topped $1,000 in sales on Amazon. What a feeling of pure joy. I remember when my customers would send me their feedback about how great my service is, and that made me smile every time I got those messages. Those people loved me, and I thought you were really into me. But I'm not giving you the old "it's not you, it's me." I want to be 100% clear. It's you. You no longer seem to care about me. I often can't sleep at night wondering if you're going to suspend my product or account and then ignore my calls for help. By the way, your definition of the word support is something that needs help. Probably needs support. An icicle has a better chance of building a condo in hell than I do of getting a support message that actually acknowledges or understands my core needs. With everything happening in our relationship, deleting my reviews, allowing my competition to deploy black hat tactics, I'm simply over it. Here are a couple other things that have been building that show your lack of attention and even care about me. Your prices at FBA are out of control. If costs are rising, fine, but you change too often. Your lack of brand protection is killing my business. You allow too many people to pretend to be me, and during the same time we're fighting about it, I lose sales every day. Nobody seems to care about that part. Do you remember that certain one-star review suddenly got 500 upvotes and my conversion sank? That was my competition manipulating the machines. Why can't you stop that? It's so obvious to us. Remember when you took my reviews without cause or explanation? Not everyone cheats the system. I agree that you should eliminate the smelly, bad fish from the ecosystem, but you're catching dolphins in your net too often. Here's an idea. Save the dolphins. Today, as I write this, you now seem to simply view me as a walking ATM machine, because every time I turn around, you're raising prices for FBA and other marketplace fees. You don't appreciate me. When we started, there was a place for the little guys. That window seems to be closing. You prefer China-based cheap stuff or big known brands. This means that emerging startups have little chance to succeed now. At least that's how it feels at times. By the way, when I complain about the fact that you have too many counterfeiters on your site and on my private brand listings, so you come up with a program called transparency and you want me to pay for it. 5 cents a label? You must be out of your mind. Is everything there a revenue stream for you? And your solution to hijackers to have me pay 5% protection money to be part of the Amazon Exclusives program? Are you from Sicily? I've often wondered, is there anyone inside your big corporate offices asking what value that is being provided from something that should be inherently included in any marketplace, e.g. brand protection? And obviously my writing of that was not particularly well. The point of that statement is there anybody saying we should deliver value as part of the marketplace offering? Did you know when you suspend my product for a bogus safety complaint just before Black Friday, despite us having provided all appropriate safety documentation multiple times in the past for the same product, for other past bogus complaints, you cost me $200,000 over the weekend until the listing was reinstated? Did it ever occur to you that the scumbag sellers use this as an offensive tactic to take down their competition during peak periods? Run the reports. You will see a spike in safety and other critical complaints against best-selling items before peak selling periods. I guarantee it. How about the time when 1,000 of my best fan letters, e.g. reviews, were randomly deleted because your algorithm clearly got drunk and started throwing random punches? The reviews were organic. Your attention to detail is non-existent. Your propensity to pick up false positives is a big turnoff. There are more reasons, but I felt like I should let you down easy. And that's why it's over. It's a shame, but that's life. By the way, don't talk to me if you see me at Jeffrey's wedding, because I'm now dating Walmart.com. Jillian. P.S. I'm keeping the jewelry. Now, I wrote this letter to illustrate a couple points. One, you can have fun with this letter. You can, add some levity if you can. And remember that this is not just one long hate memo about, this or that. This is really designed to help Amazon shine the light on critical problems. I think sales tax is something I probably should have included in this letter, and I did not. But whatever's important to you, I really think it's important to get that in front of Amazon. I want to just share the template very quickly with you. So I know that not everybody is into copywriting or creative writing or whatever. So we've got a template, or the Empoweries guys have a template to share with you that kind of takes you through the format of a typical Dear John template. If you just send a long list of things that you're mad about, it's just going to get caught up in the noise. If you make something quirky and even artistic, you're going to have a better chance of kind of cutting through and getting the message across. Remember, everybody, we're talking about humans dealing with other humans. I know we have machine learning and AI and all this other stuff, but this project, Empowery.com/DearJohn, is about human sellers talking to humans at Amazon who want to improve the customer experience. This is a very special opportunity, very special indeed. Now, you don't have to use your real name. This particular page, the Empowery.com/DearJohn, actually has a submission. Once you have gone through the template, once you've written your letter, you can go in and you can submit your letter through that system, and we'll get those on a weekly basis to Amazon. And again, we have executives reading these already. And I have to say, not only do they care, and this surprised a lot of people. A lot of people think Amazon is full of people who don't care about sellers. And listen, it's not completely off base that you would make that assumption or make that conclusion based on some of the treatment. But I would say that the vast, vast majority of them do care. Yes, I've talked to some people who had experiences with seller performance, where seller performance is like, hey, you made a lot of money on this, stop being a baby about it. And it's like, it doesn't matter how much money I made. If I'm not in the wrong, in other words, I'm the good guy, then stop oppressing me. It doesn't matter how much money I've made. That's the symbiotic relationship we have here. So there are some bad apples in the bunch, but I want to say, by and large, there are absolutely people who care and who want sellers to succeed. And they want to hear all those positive, happy, life-changing stories that are true and legitimate and absolutely genuine about the Amazon Marketplace making a difference in people's lives. So the general Dear John concept, right? I want you guys to remember to share your own situation and share your own perspective. Don't just copy the template. That won't help anybody. If you don't want to use your real name, even as you submit this information, we won't submit your real name. They're only going to get a copy of the document. In fact, many times we will copy and paste a document to a new document so that there's no even metadata that's saying who the author was, right? And so I just don't want you to think that there's any chance that, if you don't want to be identified because you're scared, then don't worry about it. But I will tell you, in my honest opinion, there's absolutely no problem. And by the way, I've submitted other Dear John letters to Amazon without fear of repercussions. I just did that one example so it could be public and everybody could see it under the name Jillian. I have a little niece named Jillian. So when you open the letter, you want to talk about kind of the you've had it up to here. The straw that broke the camel's back just occurred. That's kind of like the reason you're writing the letter. But now, for context, you go back to when things were good, right? You think about the good old days. And maybe you've got the glass of wine out, you got the candles, and you're like, oh man, this was so good. Amazon was so totally into me at this point, and I was into Amazon, and it was a dream, dream relationship. And then, of course, there's some sort of transition that happened, right? You had some really good stuff, but then the bad stuff started to kind of supersede the good stuff, at least in terms of volume. And then you kind of talk about it in the transition way of how you feel about the things that are happening, because really, everybody can say business is business, but this is a very emotional situation. We have people that literally can't sleep at night because they don't know if their products will be turned off or suspended or whatever. I one time had one of my accounts, the entire account, suspended for 2 weeks due to a velocity suspension. And they never communicated the entire time except to say, we'll be back to you within 24 hours. And they never got back to me in 24 hours. So I get it. I understand. And by us sharing these stories in, again, a creative, a quirky, and a more fun way, I think we can help Amazon shine the light on these important topics. And I absolutely know they're committed to making things better. So once you get into the transition, then you get into your core message. Hey, reason A, reason B, reason C. These are things that are concerning to me. And then you add anecdotes and stories related to each one. The truth is, the more we share stories and make it personal and show the true impact, right? I remember, talking to a seller, and they're like, hey, I got in a big fight with my wife after I just been on the phone with Amazon for 2 hours. I was very frustrated. Then they got in a fight with their wife because they were just so wound up. The wife really didn't do anything wrong. That seller was just so wound up and so angry that, their family got the raw end of it. And that's the real human toll that happens on these things. Now, let's be honest. This is not unique to Amazon. You get a speeding ticket on the way home, you can take it out on your loved ones. But my point is, I don't think Amazon wants to be the stimuli that pushes people into the negative space. Amazon really, they have a philosophy called seller love. They have they want to be obsessed about their customers, and they want to convince us that they really do think of sellers as customers. And, for all the things that are going on with, reviews disappearing, and, that it really has killed one of my brands. I'm not going to lie to you. I bought this brand about a year ago, and every single review on the product or two that it has is completely gone, and the conversion is dead, and the BSR is dead, and I don't even know now if I'm going to carry on with that business. I may just close it. So there are real things happening, but I'm not going to cry and moan about that individually. I'm going to just say, how can I make a difference? And writing a Dear John letter, I believe you can make a difference. So with each of the themes areas, each of the areas in the template, we kind of talk you through, here's the logic behind it, and then we give you an example. And the example is largely taken from the letter I just read to you. So, and then, of course, at the end, you want to sign off. But I think it's fun to remember that, let's have a little, put a joke or two in there if you have one. It's okay, right? Anytime you're arguing with somebody, if you can just have a little joke here or there, it just kind of lightens the mood and lets everybody know that, maybe there is hope at the end of the day. So I want to reiterate what a powerful, powerful program this is, and what a unique opportunity this is. I've never seen a time where on a systemic basis that you can put in very clear communication to Amazon, and that there are people on the other side at Amazon who are wanting this feedback, and they will take this feedback, and they will kind of make it part of their culture. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I think that's going to happen in real life at Amazon right after this message.
Empowery. The name says it all. Connecting e-commerce entrepreneurs with great people, ideas, systems, and the services needed to stay business dynamic and to grow. Empowery is a network, a cooperative venture of tools and resources to make you better at what you do, because we love what you do. We are you. Visit empowery.com to learn more.
Okay, we're back, everybody, and I love this initiative. Again, go to empowery.com/DearJohn if you want to participate, and please share this. Get out there and share it with people. If they're a marketplace seller, it doesn't mean that you today are going to break up with Amazon, but it gives Amazon a picture of the future. And everybody likes to think of Amazon as the only game in town, right? In fact, there's probably some level of perception, at least, that Amazon's arrogant. They're like, hey, we're over 50% of sales. You need us more than we need you. And today that's probably true. But I'll tell you what, there was a time when, Palm Pilot was the king of the hill, and they couldn't imagine anybody dethroning them, nor could the rest of the world. And along came BlackBerry, and Palm was gonzo, right? They were out. And BlackBerry rode around like they were now the king of the hill. And where's BlackBerry now, right? They're kind of an afterthought in the security world. Very few people have a BlackBerry at this stage, as far as I know. And Apple, kind of came in and cleaned their clock. And of course, even Apple's under stress from Android, although the profit Android generates is not nearly what Apple does. The point is, things do change. People are dethroned. And the smart people at Amazon know that if they get arrogant and they don't take care of their customers, they could be picked off by somebody else in the future. Maybe it's somebody like the big guys we already know. Maybe it's the Walmarts of the world. Maybe it's an emerging company like Rakuten.com. Or maybe it's somebody new that's never come along, right? We don't know yet, but nobody is ever safe. Nobody's ever secure. And if you get complacent, you will be in trouble. And this is the entire philosophy, in my opinion, that Jeff Bezos talks well about, and he has for over 20 years, about day one. So at Amazon, they have this philosophy. Every day is day one. They've been in business for over 20 years, but every day is day one. Because the second you're on to day two, that complacency sets in, and then everything just kind of atrophies and starts breaking apart, and that's when the arrogance of the organization takes over, and it's a terrible, terrible situation. So I really respect that philosophy, and I think this initiative and the cooperation that these brilliant people at Amazon are having by taking these letters in and internalizing them and sharing them within the organization. And so I told you before the break I was going to give you a tangible example of how I see this happening. Amazon is very good at identifying kind of hero stories. And I have to say, I've seen some of the hero stories and the posters in some of the buildings at Amazon, and they're some of my friends. Some Catalyst88.com mastermind members have been, kind of featured as wonderful examples of life-changing stories and really great success stories. And that's such an amazing thing. Those are hero stories. But, there's a general feeling that, it's not all rainbows and unicorns, right? There's some wrinkles that I talked about earlier that need ironed out. And by bringing these Dear John letters into the equations where they can at least stand side by side with the hero stories, I think Amazon and their teams will have a more balanced view of what's really happening out there. Now, I hope you guys can see, number one, that I'm passionate about this. Number two, I hope you can see how special this is that the Empowering Cooperative is giving people this chance to communicate. And again, the team there is helping facilitate this. They put the forums together. They're going to, kind of collate all the stuff, and then we'll make sure that we get it over to Amazon, again, on a semi-regular basis, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly, whatever makes sense for Amazon and whatever makes sense for the volume. But the point is, this is an ongoing opportunity to communicate from you directly to people at Amazon who are in a position of influence and a position of power to make a difference. And secondly, people who care. So often, I talk to marketplace sellers, and I talk to dozens or hundreds a month on a direct basis, and often, many more at events. And there's a certain level of cynicism that has crept into the selling ecosystem, the marketplace sellers ecosystem, where they just assume it's us against them. And I, again, there's many things that I'm critical about Amazon about, and I'm quite transparent about. I'm open directly to Amazon about anything and everything. I would never say something to you as an audience that I wouldn't say directly to Amazon or haven't already said. Okay, just so that everybody knows, I'm 100% transparent, or at least I try to be. Doesn't mean I don't make mistakes. But my point is, I'm trying to view this in a way that is both beneficial to Amazon and you as a marketplace seller. And of course, when all of you guys win, then I'm a happy guy, because entrepreneurs are making a difference, a positive difference in the world. And again, that's the final note I would leave you with today. As we wrap up this episode number 39, the awesomers.com/39 episode, I want to remind you that, Empowery is a very unique opportunity for sellers of all types and sizes to band together and to work together as for buying power, for knowledge sharing, best practices. I'll give you another quick example of how great co-ops are, and I've used them in my past, and we'll probably talk a little bit more in detail about this in a future episode. But one example of how great a co-op is, if you're having a problem with a vendor, often the vendors will try to do the best they can, but at a certain point they're like, juice ain't worth the squeeze. You know what? We lost one. Life goes on. But when you're part of the cooperative, they don't look at you as one member. They don't look at you as one customer they might lose. They see that potential impact cascading through all of the other members, right? And that's a powerful image I want you to think about. Instead of you being alone, you're now part of something. And as Evan Hackel, one of the co-founders of Empowery, talks about, as marketplace sellers, as e-commerce people, we're better together. And there are great examples. I won't quote their names, but I know one of the newer Empowery members, she was able to save almost actually she told me more than the amount to join Empowery on some of her initial shipping offers with some of the aligned suppliers that we had. So she paid for her membership just like that. We have another member who's already accruing just from one supplier each month enough cash back to pay her entire amount, the monthly $250. So she's already in the money. If she uses any other program, she will be getting a cashback check at the annual conference that Empowery will have once a year. So I've been a part of co-ops and franchise and kind of businesses of all size, and the team that has been putting Empowery together put together multi-billion-dollar co-ops and businesses. I just can't stress that enough. Barth Getto, the president, Ed Carr, Evan Hackel, these guys have collaborated with massive, multi-billion-dollar co-ops, and so they know how it's done. And there's other folks who are lending a hand in terms of the e-commerce piece of the puzzle. There's just so much opportunity. So I'm really excited about it. I love it. I think it's an important thing for the community, and I think for you listening, if you are an e-commerce person and you haven't yet signed up and kind of gotten involved with Empowery, you're missing a chance to make history. I really do think in 10 years people will look back and go, you remember that, when nobody knew what Empowery was and when nobody knew how it worked, and before Empowery could go to Amazon with a list of demands and say, we want a better price, we want faster service, we want premium this or that. The dream ultimately is that Empowery can work with large marketplaces as a group to negotiate and to work together in a more positive and productive way. And this is not a threatening thing. This is just an idea that says, would you rather deal with one guy at a time, or what if you could deal with 1,000 men and women or 10,000 men and women and strike deals that make sense for both parties? Better economics, better efficiencies of scale. It's better for vendors, it's better for marketplaces, and it's better for members. That's the true triple win right there. So again, I love this thing. It's really important to me, and I hope it becomes important to you. And at a minimum, please go to empowery.com/DearJohn and participate in this very important project. It's not every day that Amazon gives us a signal that says, we want to hear from you. Please give us this input. And this is, again, I just can't tell you how unique and how excited that I am that every seller out there has this opportunity to tell your story and to share that with the good people at Amazon. So I thank you guys, as always, for listening, and I hope and I encourage you to pay close attention to this initiative, and we'll be reporting back on it from time to time and keeping everybody appraised. So thank you again for listening, and we'll be right back after this.
Hey Amazon Marketplace professionals, this is Parsimony ERP, and we get one question over and over. Can you please tell me exactly what Parsimony does? Well, we'll try, but this is only a 30-second spot, so we're going to have to hurry. Connect to your Seller Central account and pull all the new orders. Enter the orders with all customer data. Enter all of the Amazon fees and charges. Store them at the item level. Generate profit and loss reports at the SKU level. Automatically generate income statements. Handle multiple companies. Handle multiple brands. Handle multiple currencies. Facilitate budgets and forecasts. Store all customer interactions in a sophisticated CRM system. Manage your supply chain. Project and task management. Maintain an audit log. Hey, you get it. That's Parsimony, PARSIMONY.com. Parsimony.com. We've got that.
Well, we've done it again, everybody. We have another episode of the Awesomers podcast ready for the world. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you've enjoyed our program today. Now's a good time to take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this podcast. Heck, you could even leave a review if you wanted. Awesomers around you will appreciate your help. It's only with your participation and sharing that we'll be able to achieve our goals. Our success is literally in your hands. Thank you again for joining us. We are at your service. Find out more about me, Steve Simonson, our guests, team, and all the other Awesomers involved at awesomers.com. Thank you again.
Awesomers.com